we like to see.
Feeling pretty good. I mean, see if we can go for 4.
Boom!
There we go.
Nice.
Always love the feel with the Scotty.
How'd that feel?
I mean, fantastic. A classic shape too. I mean, always feels great.
Yeah, so that's the Special Select Newport 2. And one of the key things about the Special Select line with our blades, Newport, Newport 2, Newport 2.5, was with the Special Select line, Scotty brought it back to these real sleek, slim, smaller tour shapes.
Right, right.
And that's what everyone's really liked about the line. It's made it really successful. So they're slimmer, they're lower to the ground, they sit great. And what you'll notice is you've got 40-gram tungsten weights there. I think you were rolling a 33-inch putter in that case. So we've got tungsten weights, heavier tungsten weights in the Special Select blades. And one of the things some people immediately think is, oh, is the putter head a lot heavier?
Right.
And overall, it's not.
Sure.
So what's going on here is just Scotty keeps trying to find new ways to position weight in the places where it's going to benefit the player the most. So in this case, he slimmed down the overall body shape, body size, brought that weight back in the form of those tungsten weights in the heel and toe.
Interesting.
So now much more of the overall putter head weight is centered around the heel and toe. So you're going to get more stability, a little bit more forgiveness in a blade. So it's a very cool way of kind of getting the best of both worlds of that tour blade look, real sharp, crisp lines, but then a really good, stable stroke, which you saw there as you just drained 4 in a row. So
of course,
it's working. What did you think about it in terms of alignment?
I think the alignment is super easy. I mean, having a nice little sight line on the back there, but top line is thin too, and truthfully, I think that helps. You mentioned like a thinner shape overall, and we can see it, but it's not something that's that would be like, that I'd be scared of.
Right,
you know what I mean? It still seems very easy. The feel is great because I think that top line is a little bit thinner. Milling is awesome. I mean, this is what you would expect from a Scotty Cameron.
Yeah, well, Scotty did thin out that top line for Special Select, and a lot of players on tour who choose our blades line up the face of the putter perpendicular with that plumbing neck. So even these lines and cuts and mills on the plumbing neck, Scotty dialed in for the Special Select line to make them crisp, sharp. And so if you're one of those players that aligns the putter to the ball in that manner, the putter face perpendicular to the plumbing neck, it's very crisp, very easy, really quick to align.
Very nice.
I think you saw. So Newport 2 is all about sharp, crisp lines, angles, guys who like alignment. Newport, this is its kind of softer, rounder sibling, a little bit shorter from toe to heel, rounder bumpers. You may have seen a very similar putter in the 009 that Cam Smith recently won with. Of
course.
The Newport is, sort of our production offering of that. Very, very popular shape, just suited to players who like something a little bit rounder, a little less sharp, more flowing perhaps, kind of the Jordan Spieth, Cam Smith kind of thing.
Of course.
Still with that plumbing neck. So just different look at a dress, but all the similar technologies.
Does the face seem a little taller on the 1 than compared to the 2?
The faces are actually the same height.
Okay.
It's just the 1 is longer.
Gotcha.
And so it's a little bit sleeker to the ground.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, can definitely see a little more round shape with the 1 compared to the 2. I think, as someone who's comparing both, it really just depends on what helps your alignment more, I think. For me, it'd be a little more square shape in a 2.
As Scotty would say, no right, no wrong. A lot of this is, you got to feel confident of what you're looking down at.
Right.
And, a lot of things, Scotty and Paul Vizanko in our leadership department, they ask questions of players. What kind of cars do you like? What kind of shapes do you like to look at? Trying to figure out, is this someone who's oriented towards angles and really mechanical stroke?
Interesting, yeah.
Or more flowing thoughts, creative thoughts? A lot of the guys who choose the Newport actually don't have sight lines on them. It's more about feel and flow. So yeah, really personal preference. Another thing about the weighting with Scotty Cameron Putters, Scotty was really the first to do this, is we weight them up based on length.
Okay, yeah.
So the weighting is going to change whether it's 33, 34, or 35.
Right.
As the putter gets shorter, we're going to weight it up a little bit more to compensate.
Makes sense.
So that regardless of your length, if you buy a Scotty Cameron putter at 33 or 35, it's going to have the proper feel that you need out of that putter.
Right.
If you kept the weights consistent across lengths, every putter is going to feel different.
Sure.
So it's this recipe he has of getting the right shaft flex, the right feel in the head, so that it's not boardy, it's not too whippy, and he's dialed it in over a lot of years working with the best players in the world.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, they look fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah, awesome. And totally milled heads. We mill our putters about 20 minutes from here in California.
Yep.
Milled from blocks of steel, 303 stainless steel, super premium materials. Everything is milled. The finish is really cool. It's what we call a silver mist finish. But what it is it's not a paint. Scotty doesn't paint his putters in that regard. The silver mist is sort of a bead blasting process associated with jewelry and watches and things. And it's basically firing at high pressure a sand or a projectile that's designed to give it this very beautiful satin knockdown finish.
Yeah, not very glossy or anything.
And there's a practical reason for that is it's anti-glare.
Yeah.
So we knock the finish down so the stainless steel doesn't get too reflective. And actually on tour, he can knock it down even further for certain times a year to where they're matte. So he polishes the soles, knocks down the tops for anti-glare. But the benefit of that is someone's going to buy one of our putters, bring it home. It's never going to chip. It lasts forever.
Right.
Because it's that permanent, etching or misting as we call it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just so many details go into these. Just amazing stuff. So these have won all over tour, and these are, like you said, these are what people think about.
Absolutely.
When they think about a Scotty Cameron putter.
And this blade shape too. It's very nice, very good to look at.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're going to talk mid mallets now. And in the Special Select line, we've got a great offering of mid mallets, starting with our Squareback 2 and our Fastback 1.5, and then going a little bit bigger with the Flowbacks, which I have in my hand here. So mid mallets are the answer for players who say like the Newport 2 or the Newport, but just feel like they need something a little bit bigger, maybe a little more alignment that you get from having a bigger head, or just maybe a little bit more forgiveness, a little more confidence. So the idea here with the Squareback 2, this is kind of the cousin to the Newport 2. It's the Newport 2 shape, square, angular, classic, but just widened here from toe to flange. And then what Scotty does, you'll see there's this sole plate on the bottom. That's aircraft aluminum. So it's 6061 aluminum, very, very high-end material, milled. And Scotty's actually milled out some of the steel underneath that. So what that essentially creates is this perimeter weighting. The steel is heavier than aluminum. So you've got heavier steel around the perimeter of the putter head, lighter aircraft aluminum on the sole plate. So he's created like a perimeter weighted mallet in something that's not very big. It's this cool trick to kind of pack a lot of performance into a really pleasing looking putter head that doesn't get too big. So whenever you see these sole plates on Scotty Cameron putters, just know that's what's going on. There's a lot of technology and thought going on underneath to get players a lot of performance in the perimeter, and that translates into forgiveness. So you're going to get that same sharp alignment you liked about the Newport 2, but it's going to feel more stable, maybe a little more confident. It's an awesome putter.
Would it feel a little bit softer as well, you think?
It depends.
Okay.
They're really designed to feel consistent across the line, but it's a very personal thing in terms of sound and feel. What we do know is, depending on what ball you're using, how you hear things, sound is very closely linked to feel.
Of course.
So if we can play with sound, we can kind of impact people's perceptions of feel. Scotty Cameron Special Select putters are all mid-milled, and the way Scotty, one of the things he does to control sound is in the milling. So mid-mill is just a great middle milling, not too deep, not too shallow, that's going to perform great and feel great for a lot of players. Previously, we've done deep milling. It's a deeper mill, less metal is contacting the ball. So for a lot of players, they perceive that as being softer, but it's a bit of a sound thing as well. So I think you just have to roll a lot of different putters and see what feels best to you.
Try them all, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. In my hand, I've got the Flowback here. This is a Flowback 5.5. We also have a Flowback 5 in the Special Select line. So the Flowback is for the player that likes kind of a classic rounded mallet. Again, we've got that aircraft aluminum sole plate. We've got the 303 milled stainless head. bigger platform, longer line, so we got a lot of lines, a lot of alignment. We've got the small slant neck. This is the 5.5. So again, that's that 0.5.
Right.
A little bit of toe flow and a real forgiving mallet. We've also got the regular 5, which has the mid-bend shaft, which is on a lot of our mallets. So that's a much more face-balanced, straight back, straight through kind of putter. The Flowbacks are great. It's kind of a classic mallet. So if you're not ready for the wings and things flying off the putter, you know, the real high-tech modern look of the Phantom X's, this is a great spot to kind of bridge that gap.
Of course, yeah, right in the middle, in the middle.
I've picked 3 models specifically because these are new models we just released within the past couple months. The Phantom X 11, 11.5, and the straight shafted 5S. We're seeing a lot of these on tour right now. Cameron Young plays an 11, Will Zalatoris plays an 11, Pat Cantlay plays the 5 shape, Justin Thomas plays the 5 shape, so we've got a lot of players in these. Pretty much any week on the PGA Tour, we've got about 20 of these in play. So really catching on like wildfire, and the reason is there's a lot of performance packed into these, so we'll take you through some of that. Pretty cool shapes, a lot of technology going on. You can see there's a mix here. It's a multi-material design of 303 stainless, and then the anodized black sole plate section here is that aircraft aluminum. And so Phantom X is really about providing all the mallet options and shapes a player would need or want. A lot of alignment options, shaft and neck options, and maximum forgiveness and stability. So if we look at the 11, we've got this popped up flange area here. This is milled all out of a single piece of aircraft aluminum, and it wraps over to this sole plate here. And again, the idea is get the heavier steel at the perimeter. We've got these wings here that move the weight even further out and back, and it creates a very, very stable putter with a lot of alignment value.
Yeah, longer sight line for sure, yeah.
Absolutely. And you'll see, you know, Scotty does these other tricks where, you know, he's milling lines into the flange in ways that support that sight line, and everything is geared towards setup and alignment with Scotty. So he prides himself on, you know, the putter's set up perfectly square, and that's not the case with all mallets. Very easy to set up square at address. A lot of things aiding alignment. Even our shaft bends point directly down the target line. And then you'll notice too, he chooses to put the shaft sticker on the back of the shaft. So at address, you have no distractions visually. It's very clean, very simple. It's all these details that the thought is they all add up to confidence, focus, and great alignment and aim. So we've got the 11 here and the 11.5. And again, we talked about how a 0.5 indicates we're doing something here to get you a little more toe flow. So in this case, this is a low bend shaft versus the mid bend you have there of the standard 11. And the low bend, again, just by lowering that bend a little bit, we're going to introduce some toe flow, get that toe moving and arcing a little bit more in the stroke. So very, very popular configuration in that you're getting all the benefits of a larger mallet head, long lines, forgiveness, stability, but with a little bit more of a blade-like feel that's really comfortable to a lot of players on tour.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think just seeing the body speaks to forgiveness for sure. That extra sight line, a little more confidence in what you're choosing, right? I mean, even if you line it up with the ball too, I mean, just added length here really speaks to that confidence in your stroke, knowing that you're going to get some forgiveness in something like a mallet as well.
We've got a new grip here on the new Phantom X line. This is a new textured Pistolero Plus. And the Plus in our grips, we introduced this a couple years ago. The Plus just means that this is a new shape, a new mold, whereby the low hand or the lower half of the grip is built up about as if you had a couple extra wraps of tape, but it's actually in the grip itself. So the idea here is, you know, there's definitely a trend towards players, particularly mallets, preferring a little bit of a less tapered grip, maybe a slightly bigger grip. This is kind of the perfect compromise, or marriage I should say, of, you know, a grip that's going to maintain your feel and feedback. So you're going to be able to identify your mishits and get that feel. You're not going to shut your hands completely off, but you are going to get a little bit bigger grip, a little bit more of that thicker feel that players, particularly of mallets, have been seeking. Yeah,
sure. I mean, it does fit very naturally in the hand. I mean, even if you were left hand low, it's nice having this top hand up here with a little bit more, you know, thickness in the grip up top here as well. Seems very natural.
Absolutely. Finally, we've got the 5S, which is one of our new releases. This is a zero offset straight shaft putter. And the benefits of a straight shaft putter here is because of that no offset, players find it very, very easy to square the face at address.
Right.
So it's just all about alignment, all about simplicity. You'll see Scotty chooses to put that shaft in just behind that top line.
Right.
He likes this side of the putter and the top line
Sure.
to be a little bit longer than the back, so the putter doesn't feel stubby at address.
Sure.
So you still feel like you're stroking kind of a classic blade, but you've got that center shaft configuration.
Right, and it seems like a little bit of toe flow even still, close to face balance.
Just a slight bit, and you'll find it in all of the Phantom X mallets, even the ones we kind of talk about being face balanced.
Sure.
Scotty always has them slightly, there's just a little bit of flow because he believes, everyone's still putting on somewhat of an arc.
Right.
So it just helps you get that putting stroke started.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much.